Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 6 of Total Drama All-Stars, No One Expects the Spanish Opposition. And say what you want about this episode, that's some pretty clever work on the title. A nice reference to both Alejandro and of course the famous Spanish Inquisition sketch from Monty Python's Flying Circus. If you've never seen that, do yourself a favor and YouTube it. There's a reason why decades later it is still considered a comedy classic among geeky folks. It really is one for the history books. There, it is funny stuff. Anyway, that said, though, I have to kind of say that I felt this episode was sort of a little on the meh side. Not really terribly well done, honestly, in terms of characterization. And again, it's just kind of more of a plot episode. And again, nothing intrinsically wrong with that. It just didn't really feel like the character moments really were all that terribly interesting to me. Now, honestly, I really think they should have made a bigger deal out of the fact that Zoe is now scared of Mike. I mean, this is essentially her boyfriend, or at least her romantic interest. And if you're scared of the person that you're dating, that's kind of a big thing. Now, granted, obviously they aren't going to want to go too heavy on that. I mean, this is a comedy. It might have the word drama in the title, but the actual drama in Total Drama has always been a little on the lighter side. So, I mean, if we're talking Canadian TV, you're going to get more drama out of an episode of Degrassi. At least from what I understand about it. I got a friend who is huge Degrassi fanatic, but I've never really seen much of the show. So, there's that. Looks more like talking with some of the fans since last episode. Some people were speculating whether or not Evil Mike wanted the money or whether or not Evil Mike just wanted to make everybody miserable. Well, I'm kind of thinking that this episode lends quite a bit of credence to Evil Mike just wants everybody to be miserable. And another thing that a fan brought up that I was an idea that a fan brought up that I was a little not so sure on was whether or not Duncan might have known Mike from Juvie. And I thought, well, why wouldn't Duncan have recognized Mike when he saw Mike on TV last season? I have a feeling we're going to kind of get a little bit more information on that in the coming episodes, but apparently that does look like it was the case. Duncan flat out says that he recognizes Mike from his days in Juvie, just that he went by the name Mal then. And I have to say I kind of find this development to be a little bit questionable, but consistency has never been Total Drama's strongest suit. I mean, you guys have heard me complain about how characters don't really seem to always be consistent. There's an awful lot of it varies on who's writing the episode, just how the characters act, how reasonable they are, or how bad their various neuroses or character traits or whatever you want to call them are. So, and this episode is a perfect example of this. We're seeing Duncan sort of struggling with the better angels of his nature, shall we say. And that was reasonably interesting. Here, it's just taken to and I hate to use this word when describing a cartoon, but it's taken to a ridiculously cartoony level. It doesn't feel realistic. It doesn't really feel like some actual character development on the part of Duncan. It just feels like, hey, here's a character beat. Let's beat it to death, huh? Let's go John Henry on this thing. Oh, and speaking of that sort of thing, Sierra continues her embarrassing downward spiral into complete and utter insanity. pretty much ruining all of her season 3 character development. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying anything I haven't said before, so I'm not going to really get into that. So kind of getting into a few more things. How did Scott and Cameron and everybody else who spent time on Boney Island completely and utterly miss this fun zone thing? I mean, it seems like the sort of thing that would be really, really hard not to notice. But, I guess it's one of those things we're just supposed to sort of let go. But still, if Scott had searched all over the island, you'd think that he would have at least noticed the door or something, which I'm assuming Chris kept locked. Oh, and hey, Chef, well, this episode he didn't actually speak, but he did snicker a little bit. Once again, obviously the show is cutting corners in order to not have to pay anybody to actually really do the voice of Chef. I love the show. I love the people behind it, but man, when I see blatant corner cutting at the expense of an actor, I gotta say I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that at all. I definitely did get a kick out of seeing the carnivorous plant Larry again, and the whole baby half plant half Chris thing. That was a cute joke, although it certainly does bring some disturbing imagery to mind. And I can't help but wonder if this wasn't a reference to an episode of South Park, where there was a similar situation between Mr. Garrison and a pig. And for the reference, I believe that episode was called An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig. Yeah. South Park, huh? Darn, I think I got some of that on my pants. C'est la vie. Not really a huge amount to say about the whole Scott-Courtney thing. I think I've made it clear that I'm not really on board with this thing. I'm just more of taking this as more of a whatever. I guess maybe they're trying to have Courtney move on or something. Now, personally, I always thought it'd be kind of funny if Courtney had taken some sort of an interest in Trent, but after Total Drama Action, I can kind of understand why they might not want to bring Trent back. I think that particular character has been played out and badly written about as much as he can take. Man, remember back in Season 1 when Trent was actually a pretty interesting character? The kind of guy that you genuinely wanted to root for? I mean, he wasn't perfect back in Season 1, but God, Action, what in the world were they thinking? Okay, so, speaking of Courtney, we do get to see her, genuinely making a full-on play for Courtney's trust, and, maybe, yeah, she might have succeeded. We don't know for sure yet. I can definitely see Courtney going, well, this is just Gwen trying to manipulate me, or I'm just going to use Gwen here. But still, it's certainly a nice moment, and at least, if nothing else, it gives Courtney something to think about. And of course, the big crux of this episode is that Alejandro basically flushes his relationship with Heather down the toilet. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed in this. The sort of, we're both kind of evil, but we're both really into each other's struggle between Heather and Alejandro was really what made so much of Season 3 great. And I know they were going to have to go for full-fledged with it one way or the other. But, I don't know, I really think it could have been interesting to see them as a genuine evil duo on the show. Here, though, basically kind of kills any real chance of that. Although, I do like how apparently Alejandro just sort of viewed the whole situation as, Heather did me wrong, I've got to pay her back, but once that's done, we're even and we can sort of pick up where we left off. And to her credit, Heather doesn't buy into this for a second. She basically tells Alejandro to go jump in a lake. Or more accurately, she shoves him in a lake herself. So, good on Heather for that. I really didn't think that Heather was going to get knocked out of the game this early. I thought she'd last longer, but I'm actually kind of glad things did play out how they did there in that regard, because one, the show once again surprised me, and I like it when shows surprise me. And two, like I said, it made for a really nice moment for Heather as a character. And now this just sort of leaves us with a dynamic of, okay, so where do things go from here? Is Alejandro going to try and get another one of the girls on his side? I mean, he knows. He even made Courtney lose control. So, yeah, and if that were the case, well, that would certainly make things interesting if he had to basically kind of found himself dueling with Scott for Courtney. And then, of course, he was not above even charming Gwen a little bit. So, interesting thing there, especially with Gwen having just gotten out of a relationship with Duncan. And here we have Alejandro, somebody who is quite easily, arguably, even worse than Duncan. So there's a lot of interesting things that could be still done with Alejandro. Not really seeing much in terms of potential character stuff left for Sierra or Cameron. I'm honestly surprised Cameron lasted this long. I really thought he was going to be the next to go. But I have a feeling that one of those two is going to be on the chopping block pretty darn soon. In any case, guys, that's all I've got for you this time around. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.